What's up, guys? So today's video is going to be every single Marvel movie ranked. Now when I say every single Marvel movie, I'm only talking about ones based on actual Marvel characters, not the ones based on their imprint characters. So all the MIB movies are not included here, all the Kingsman and Kick-Ass movies are not included here. And I'm also only going to be looking at the ones released after 1998, when Blade was first released, because Blade and Spawn and the movies that sort of came out in 1998 are generally regarded as the beginning of the golden age of superhero movies that we are currently in. So that therefore disqualifies the David Hasselhoff Nick Fury movie, the unreleased Fantastic Four movie. There's a Howard the Duck movie in like 1968 that everyone just generally agrees is horrible. It's not included here. It's only anything after 1998 and onwards. So we're basically looking at the last 21 years of superhero films. So yeah, let's get straight into this. Now, to get the scores for this and therefore the rankings for these, the other thing that I've done is I've used my little app that I usually use for my bad film reviews to get the scores for these. So it is an average of the scores between Rotten Tomatoes critic score, the Metacritic critic score, and the IMDb score. The audience scores and user scores are not included in this. This is purely a critical score, and I have not put my own sort of spit on this. You can actually go and find the scores for those three things and add them all up, divide them by 3 to find the average of them and get these same scores. I have not put my own preferences on these, and proof of that is number 51, which would be higher if I had put my own spin on this. But that being said, there are 55 films technically produced by Marvel. The only one here that sort of barely scrapes through is Man-Thing. I believe it got a direct-to-video, I believe. I don't recall it being in the cinemas. But it is generally just regarded as a horrible film. I myself have not seen it through to completion because it just got boring. There wasn't enough Man-Thing in a film titled Man-Thing, you know? But there are 55 films in total. This obviously includes everything within the MCU, all the X-Men movies, all the Spider-Man movies, doesn't matter who produced them, as well as like Daredevil and Elektra, the 2003 Hulk movie, etc. So we're going to start at the bottom of the list, number 55, the worst of the worst, and we're going to go all the way up to the top. The other thing as well is where movies share a score, the oldest one got put first, because I believe if it had been produced at the same time with the same level of special effects and stuff, it would have been much more of a experience and therefore gotten a higher score. So the older ones are higher on the list. Alright, let's start this list. Number 55 is the 2015 Fantastic Four movie, and no one is surprised by this. That movie is horrible. I personally enjoyed it, but it is officially the worst Marvel movie. Number 54 is Man-Thing, which got 29% as an average. 53 is Elektra. Again, no one's surprised. 52, Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance with a score of 32%. I honestly don't know how it got 32%. I legitimately hate that film with a passion. It is actually going to be this month's bad film review. So yeah, I don't know how I got to 32. I'm going to be going into full depth about how much I hate that movie later on in the month. Number 51 is the original Ghost Rider, and like I said, this one would have been higher on the list had I put my own preferences in. I like Nick Cage, I like Ghost Rider, he's one of my favourite Marvel characters, and I don't know how his film only came away with a 38%. I think it's pretty good. I don't think it's the best, obviously, but it would have been higher on the list. Number 50 is Punisher Warzone with a 40%. And between Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance and Punisher Warzone, I'm glad that Punisher Warzone sits above Spirit of Vengeance. Not only because Spirit of Vengeance is my most hated Marvel film, but Punisher Warzone and Spirit of Vengeance were the only two movies within the Marvel Knights continuity where they had started to build sort of a darker, interconnected universe. They were going to have like Punisher and Ghost Rider, and I think there was going to be like a Blade movie in there as well. They were possibly going to bring all of the characters they ended up using on Netflix into that as well, and making sort of like a darker MCU for more adult audiences. That wouldn't have been connected to the family-friendly Avengers franchise. But Spirit of Vengeance completely ruined that with how badly it did. Number 49 is Fantastic Four, the 2005 one, the original one, which got a 41%. So it got a full, 15% higher than the one that came out 10 years after it. Number 48 is Blade Trinity, which also got 41%. And again, this is a case of older ones coming first. Blade Trinity came out, I believe, 2003 or 2004. I think it was only just before Fantastic Four. So yeah. Number 47 is our latest addition to the X-Men franchise, the last addition to the X-Men franchise, Dark Phoenix, which got an average of 42%. Sharing its score is The Punisher at 46 with 42%. We've then got Fantastic Four Silver Surfer, which got a 46%, so it's almost breaking that halfway point. It sits comfortably at 45. So safely out of the bottom 10, but still not a good score for Marvel's first family. Here's hoping that Marvel is planning on doing a Fantastic Four film in Phase 4 that we can sit somewhere up in the top 25. Daredevil, the Ben Affleck one, got 46%. X-Men Origins is at 43 with 48%. Venom, Sony's universe of Marvel characters, I believe is what they're officially calling it. I just like the Sony Marvel universe. It's a lot easier to say. But the first entry into that, which was Venom, sits at 42 with a 51%. So we're now above the 50% mark. It only took us, 12, 13 movies to break even. on that 50% mark. X-Men Apocalypse is at 41 with a 56%. The Amazing Spider-Man Rise of Electro got 57%, so it sits at number 40. The 2003 Hulk movie with Eric Bana got 57%, and it shares its score obviously with Electro, but coming before it, but it also shares its score with Blade, 1998, start of it all, Blade. So Blade sits comfortably at 38%, somewhere sort of smack in the middle. Scoring slightly better than it at 37 is Blade 2. We've then got Spider-Man 3, the one that has Venom and Sandman in it. You remember that one, guys? That's where it sits at 61%, sharing its score with X-Men Last Stand at 61%, which I kind of find ironic that those two stand at 61% together, and the only ones that have the 61% mark, because they're also, for their respective series, either the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man series or the original X-Men trilogy, they're both generally regarded as the worst ones. And after them came, the sort of soft reboots for them, which is kind of funny to me. They are also the last films before we get into the worst of the worst for the MCU, which is, and probably to no one's surprise, Thor: The Dark World at 63%. I know I did a bad film review on that, but when you consider out of the MCU that it is the worst film, it still managed to qualify itself, even though it got a 63%. The Incredible Hulk, the 2008 Hulk, the MCU Hulk, got 65%. The Wolverine, the one where he goes to Japan, got 66%. Iron Man 2 at 67%, sits at 31. The original Thor movie at number 30 with 68%. We've then got The Amazing Spider-Man at 69% at number 29. Sharing the score of 71% is Captain Marvel at 28. Avengers Age of Ultron at 27, and Iron Man 3 at 26. Captain America, the First Avenger, pulls in just above them with 72%. We've then got Ant-Man at 24 and X-Men at 23, both sharing the 73 percentile. And then we've got 5, if I've counted correctly, at 76%. So they are obviously from bottom to top. So 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, sorry, I've counted incorrectly, it's 6. So there's 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, and 17. And they are, in that order, Ant-Man and the Wasp, then Deadpool 2, then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, then Deadpool. Both the Deadpool movies made the exact same score. Then X-Men First Class, which was that soft reboot, the first one with James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender. And then X-Men United, or X-Men 2, which was way back in, I believe, 2002, 2003. We've then got 4 at 79%, so 16, 15, 14, and 13. So they are Avengers Infinity War, Doctor Strange, Captain America Winter Soldier, and to the original Spider-Man, the one where he fights Green Goblin. At number 12, we are now almost into the top 10. We've got Spider-Man Homecoming at 80%, and pulling in just above that at 81% is Spider-Man Far From Home, which I believe is still currently in cinemas. It shares its score with the bottom two of the top 10, so technically it itself is in the top 10. Those being Captain America Civil War and then the original Avengers movie, both at 81%. Number 8 is Thor Ragnarok at 82%, sharing its score with X-Men Days of Future Past, which also got 82%. Now I know we've got 6 films left, but number 6 shares its score with 5 and 4, so we're going to start the top 5 now. So sort of sharing that last spot. Sorry, it only shares its score with number 5. So sharing its score with slot number 5, we've got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 at 83%, and Spider-Man 2 also 83%. I'm not surprised that Spider-Man 2 is critically the best Spider-Man film, beating the MCU versions and obviously the Amazing Spider-Man versions, but also being the best out of its own trilogy, because Alfred Molina absolutely knocks it out as Dr. Octopus. It's probably, knowing that they brought back J. Jonah Jameson, played by J.K. Simmons, I'm really hoping that another thing that they do for us in the MCU is bring back Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus, because he smashed it. He really did. A better costume design for him, and a better script that sort of fits the character a bit better, and I think he will just absolutely dominate. It'd be really cool to see that. So then we've got number 4 and number 3 both sharing 84%. So they are Logan, the Old Man Wolverine movie, and the original Iron Man, who started off the entire MCU. So there's no real surprise there. And then the top spot, which is actually number 1 and 2, both sharing the score of 86%. And again, these will probably come as no surprise, as not only are both these films MCU films, but both of these films were also considered for, I believe it was an Academy Award or an Oscar or something, but they were both nominated for an award. So they are at number 2, and only because it came after number 1 chronologically, is Avengers Endgame, and number 1 is Black Panther, both sharing the score of 86%. So it is now sort of official that Black Panther is the best Marvel movie. Obviously tied with Avengers Endgame, but it does sit at number 1 purely on the basis that it came first. So there you go. There is all 55 Marvel movies ranked by critical scores. And again, I encourage you guys to go and double check, get the critic score from Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score from Metacritic, and then look at the score on IMDb, add them all up, divide it by 3 to get an average, and you will get these same scores. I have not altered them in any way. The only thing I did was write down all their scores and then reorder them so that they were in order numerically. So yeah. So my next video will be the bad film review, and then on Monday, after Comic-Con is finished, I will be going through a full sort of Comic-Con sort of debrief sort of thing, because I'm just as excited to find out what's being said in those hallowed halls as you probably are. So make sure you hit that subscription button and the notification bell so that you are alerted when I upload those videos. You can check out my social medias in the links down below. I might even add links to Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic and IMDb for you, so you can just click on the links down below to go and find out those scores for yourself. Remembering that these are averages, so Avengers Endgame might have scored higher on Rotten Tomatoes, but did better on the other, did worse than Black Panther on the other two, or whatever. So yeah, and until next time, guys, night to A2, and I'll check you all later.